Show me your face, all of you. Okay, I am unable to see anybody here. If you have any bandwidth problem, really, then no issue. Otherwise, you can show me. First topic, type of digital switches and interface. Second, LED interface. Second module, LED interface. Third one, 7-segment display interface. Seven-segment display interface. Fourth one, LCD interface. LCD interface. Fifth one, vending machine controller design. Vending machine controller design. Sixth one, ADC DAC interface and waveform design. ADC DAC interface and waveform design. Seventh one, stepper motor interface. Eighth one, sensor and buzzer interface. Sensors and buzzers. Buzzer. Ninth one, UART within bracket RS-232. UART RS-232 hyphen serial communication interface. Serial communication interface. Next one, relay interface. Last one, matrix keypad interface. Matrix keypad. Matrix keypad interface. Other than this, there are some more interfaces, but all those things will be covered in your DSP. So maybe they are called advanced interface, like computer keyboard interface, VGA interface, HDMI interface, Bluetooth interface, then a fiber optical interface, RF module interface, game port interface, USB interface, correct? No, parallel port. All those things are the mainly required for advanced display. So those topics are already included in the DSP course, right? So advanced industrial interfacing is there. So that next course we will cover all those things. So these are all the mostly commonly being used input, output and display devices. Input, output and display devices in the industry. Okay. Now the intention is we needed to equip ourselves to fit into the industrial requirements. Correct? No? Industrial requirements means we know very well the FPGA is somewhere here. Right, this is our FPGA. You needed to feed the inputs here and you needed to collect the outputs here now. Right, because the FPGA is the very sophisticated and intelligent platform in order to process your signal the way you want. Correct? No? You can filter them, you can process them, you can amplify them, you can accumulate them, you can multiply, you can divide, right? Noise cancellation, identification, speaker verification. So whatever the application you want, you go write the program accordingly, and then you send that code into FPGA. Therefore, the system will function inside the FPGA. So we needed to feed the input here and we needed to collect the output here. The output may not be in the way you want or the way you want to see, right? Therefore, we needed to send this one into some suitable display device. Display device, correct? No? So this is the processor. Mainly it is the processing or controlling unit. FPGA is processing or controlling unit. Processing or controlling unit. Mainly, it is the heart of your entire system, right? So here, we need to feed the input here, and we need to collect the output here, right? And then that will be passed into the display unit. If you take the input here, there are limited number of inputs. You cannot say that infinite possible ways are there to give the input. Aisa nahi hai. If you take the inputs, maybe sensors, right? Or input may be the antenna, or input may be your keyboard, or input may be your sensor, or the tip switches, read switches, analog switches, digital switches, correct? No? Or some touch pad. So these are all the possible inputs now. There is no any more inputs in the industry. Not only in the industry, even in the earth or space, wherever you go for any kind of application, if you can list maximum 20 or 25 possible way of giving input into your digital system, right? And the same way, we can collect the output also. So we know very well the FPGA will accept only the digital data. Correct, no? FPGA cannot inherently or directly accept the analog signal. In the same way, the FPGA cannot give you the analog signal out, right? You need to process them out. That means it will give you again digital signal only. Digital signal means data. Digital data or digital signal means ones and zeros. Ones and zeros, ones and zeros only will come out, right? Now, then in between, the algorithm is working now. Algorithm or our architecture, function, right? Whatever the operation we wish to perform, all those things are sitting here now. So it is collecting the input, processing your input, and then giving you out. Or collecting the input, generating some control signal and giving you out. So whatever you want, you can obtain it from the FPGA by processing your input based on your requirements. Okay, fine. Now look here. Suppose the input I want to get here now, the input will come from somewhere here now, right? Suppose I have one sensor here. This is one temperature sensor, for example. This is one temperature sensor, we assume, right? The temperature sensor is the sensing element. It is a sensing unit. It is sensing unit in the sense that sensor or the transducer can convert the physical changes around it, right? Physical changes around it into the electrical signal now. Physical signal in the sense, you don't see that the structural changes. I do not mean structural changes. Suppose this is one sensing element. In case I keep one flame here, maybe burning flame here, right? I continuously burn here. So this flame is the flame emits the heat energy. That heat energy travels here, the heat energy travels here, and it falls on the sensor. The sensor has the characteristics to adjust its resistance based on the temperature that is experienced by that particular sensor now. Understand now? So something like that you can plot there. Suppose if you take the characteristics of the sensor, maybe this is the temperature, then this is the resistance value, this is the resistance value. When the temperature is 0 or at the room temperature, the resistance may be something like this. Maybe, for example, 10 kilo ohm. 10 kilo ohm now, correct? No? Then as the temperature increases, the resistance will come down. It is the characteristics of the sensor. It is the material property, right? The sensor is made such a way that it has the negative resistance effect. Negative resistance effect in the sense the effect resistance value will come down as you increase the temperatures over it now. That is the characteristics, that is the behavior of any kind of sensor, any kind of transducers. There may not be the resistive effect, there may be the capacitive effect, there may be the inductive effect, but however, the response, the output of the sensor and the physical parameter that is falling or that is influencing the sensor has a direct relation. There may be direct relation or there may be indirect relation, but however, there is the relation now. That relation should be picked by the signal processing engineers like all of us, and then we needed to process them now, right? So it is something like that. So I kept one sensor here, maybe like this. This is one temperature sensor, right? Assume this is temperature sensor. I connected here plus 5 voltage. right? I connected to one fixed resistance here, I grounded here, I'm collecting here now, I'm collecting here. So this is my output, I'm collecting across this load resistance. I'm measuring my V naught here now, right? So this V naught is directly depends the current flow here and then this resistance value, right? So maybe IL into RL, IL into RL now. Now the 5 voltage is applied across these two resistance. I mean these two elements. This is the sensor. This is sensor. This is the load resistance now. So when you measure across this at these two terminal, this point and this point, you will get 5 voltage. You will get 5. That is the Kirchhoff's voltage law. You will get 5 voltage. Correct? No? But individually, if you measure, maybe here and here, and then here and here. For example, if you take this is the 4.5 voltage, and then this will be definitely 0.5 voltage, because now the sensor resistance is more than your load resistance now. When the sensor resistance is high, relatively very high, then obviously the voltage drop across the sensor is high rather than the voltage drop across your load resistance now. But this sensor has the characteristics to change its resistance internally. Therefore, when I influence it by the heat energy, means some flames, or by the sunlight, or by some, however, when I increase the temperature of the sensor, right, then automatically this resistance is going down now. So when the resistance is going down, automatically the voltage drop also is going down now. That means this fellow is permitting the current flow. So that current is flowing through this sensor, and that will get dropped across this load resistance. So if it is 2, then this will be 3. If it is 1, this will be 4. You understand now? So this signal is our electrical signal. The signal has a direct relation to the temperature variations there, but it is not the direct measurement, it is the relative measurement. Relative measurement in the sense is something like that. Suppose we will take Surabhi. We will take Surabhi now. Surabhi nose is there now, right? I am punching her on her nose. Understand? So Surabhi is shouting. So the pressure I applied there on her nose will be measured by the sound she emits. You understand now? So it is called a relative measurement now. So if she says, you understand now? So it is the pressure is directly proportional to the sound that she emitted. In the same way, the voltage that is available here has a direct relation to the amount of temperature that is falling on the sensor, that what we call the relative measurement. Relative measurement, right? So, but there is a direct relation now. So when you map, suppose this is 1 degree Celsius, how much voltage will come out? 5 degrees Celsius, how much voltage will come out? 10 degrees Celsius, how much voltage will come out? So we measure this voltage. Measuring the voltage, we can able to measure the temperatures now. So this is the basic principle of any kind of sensors: pressure sensor, temperature sensor, your weight sensor, relative humidity sensor, correct? So these are all the basic principle of any kind of sensors, that is converting the physical changes, right? Your physical parameter changes, measurement parameter changes into the electrical signals. Almost all the transducers, almost all the sensors are converting the physical parameter changes into the electrical signal, because electrical signal only can be processed now. There are some special type of sensors, they will convert the physical parameter changes into magnetic field or magnetic flux, but they are required for very specialized applications. So all those things we will cover in the subsequent courses, next semester courses, in the advanced sensing and display unit, right? There is one separate unit for all those things. Now we will understand the fundamental concepts associated to the industrial input, output and display device interface with the FPGA now, right? So this is the voltage now. This voltage may be unidirectional or maybe bidirectional, correct? No, maybe unidirectional in the sense, in this particular case, this will be only the unidirectional, means it is somewhere varying here. Maybe this is the voltage now, this is a T, you can take this is X of T. So it is maybe, for example, this may be the 1 voltage like this, then it is going to 2 voltage, right? Going to 3 voltage, then coming to like this. So this is a random variable, right? This X of T is a random variable. Why X of T is a random variable? We do not know what will be the temperature in the environment. So environment decides the temperature value. That temperature value generates electrical signal. That electrical signal, if you see in the scope, this is something like this. It is going like this. It is going like this now. So by measuring the instantaneous voltage value, maybe this is 1 voltage, and this is a 2 voltage, and this is maybe 4 voltage. Then we can measure the corresponding temperature also at the given instant of time. You got the idea now? So our interest is how the electrical signal profile varies. The same way the temperature profile also will vary. The same way the relative humidity also will vary. The same way your weight also will vary. Correct? No? Because they have the direct relations now. Now our interest is processing this signal. So it is nothing but fluctuating DC. Fluctuating DC, because it is a DC signal now. It is a DC signal. It has the there is a this fluctuating idhar udhar. So it is a DC signal now, right? Sometimes some kind of sensors will give you, for example, something like this. Suppose one sensor is there. That sensor will give you at the room temperature. It will give you maybe 23 degrees Celsius. You will get 0 voltage. You will get 0 voltage now. If the temperature goes down, you will get negative voltage. If the temperature goes above, you will get a positive voltage now, right? So if suppose it is 0 degrees Celsius, you will get a minus 16 voltage, for example. And 30 degrees Celsius, you may get a plus 3 voltage, for example. So this kind of sensors is called a bipolar sensor, bi-directional sensor. Means the sensor signal output voltage will go to negative side also now. Negative side as well as positive side also. So you should not look only the magnitude, we should look the polarity also in that kind of sensor signal processing, right? So sensors are two types mainly. You can broadly, there are 3 types. One is the resistive sensor, capacitive sensor, and inductive sensors. Right? In this course, we talk about the resistive sensor. So the resistive sensors will give you the unidirectional output or bidirectional output. But both are fluctuating DC only. Both are fluctuating DC. Understand now? So you can conclude in this way. In general, all the sensors or transducers will give you the electrical signal. The best one is your microphone. We are talking, no? Hello, how are you, Surabhi? Hello, how are you, Mamada? We are talking, no? So the mic is giving you electrical signal. You understand now? We need to process that electrical signal. That is nothing but audio processing. So everything is electrical signal here. We need to process that electrical signal, right? So now the sensor is there. The sensor is giving you the electrical signal. Now this electrical signal is the fluctuating DC, right? Fluctuating DC. There is a fluctuation because of the pressure that we are applying on the sensor, or the temperature that we are applying on the sensor, or the temperature that the sensor experiences. Correct? No? So accordingly, the fluctuating DC is available at the output of the sensor. Now you needed to sometimes amplify it, because if it is a very weak signal, we needed to amplify it. So put one amplifier. Put one amplifier. But this is not always required, but based on the sensing ability of the of your sensor, you needed to put. Sometimes, no. Suppose you are sensing temperature, you want to pay more attention in the 0 to 1 degree Celsius only now. 0 to 1 degree Celsius, correct? No? So that time, no, we needed to concentrate more on the accuracy of the sensing now. Understand? Therefore, we needed to amplify it now. So we put one amplifier, then we are amplifying. After amplification, again, that is also the amplified DC, that's all. Amplified fluctuating DC, correct? No? But that signal cannot be directly feed into the FPGA. So we needed to send into some device which is converting this analog signal, this fluctuating DC signal into the digital signal. That may be called typically analog to digital converter, ADC. Analog to digital converter, ADC. Understand now? So the ADC is converting in real time. Everything is happening in real time. The ADC is converting your signal into the digital signal. So you are comfortable in reading the digital signal, because our device is a sophisticated device to read the digital data and digital signal. Correct? No? But now the question is there. There is one problem now. What is the problem? Suppose I am getting something from this sensor. ADC sensor is here now. The ADC sensor is giving us data, right? The FPGA is working there. But how there will be the synchronization between ADC and the FPGA? Because the FPGA should know that when the ADC is giving you data, because everything is happening at a very high speed now. Very high speed now. You understand? So we needed to collect the data without missing any sample. Without missing any sample, right? So how this conversion is taking place, what is the sampling, what is the quantization, what is the encoding, all those things are in the first unit of your DSP course. How that the conversion is happening, right? How the digitization is happening, all those things are there in the first module of your DSP course now. So now we straight away assume that this ADC is giving us digital data. What is going on inside is in the subsequent courses, right? So the analog signal is applied here, and this is giving you now. Now the problem is something like that. Suppose we will take Magna, right? So Magna is giving me some bits, right? She is giving me data to 1 kbps per second. 1 kbps per second, correct? No? So I needed to collect the data now. How do I come to know that she is going to start the transmission? Because I am independent, right? This FPGA is independent device now. There is one bus or one wire is connected from this one into this one, that's all. I do not have any link other than that wire with this ADC now. So the ADC will not inform me that I am going to start the transmission. Then I also will not tell to the ADC that you give me the data now. So in that situation, when Magna is giving me the data, you understand now, I should be ready to collect the data now. If I am doing some other job inside the FPGA based on my internal architecture, then all the samples will be missed there. You understand now? So there should be the synchronization. There should be the synchronization. Proper synchronization should be there. So dear students, any input device should be connected to the FPGA with proper synchronization. That synchronization is already available in the protocol of that particular device. So we needed to follow the communication protocol of any input device now, right? So without following the interface protocol or communication protocol, you cannot connect any devices with the FPGA other than the switch. Because switchically there is no any protocol now. So to connect ADC, to connect any kind of sensors, to connect any kind of input devices, you needed to follow the particular protocol now. That what we call interface protocol or communication protocol. Without that protocol, you cannot interface. If you interface, then you will not collect the proper samples. What is that interface? What is that protocol? It is simple. The protocol is given by the manufacturers of particular interface devices. So it is not only for the input devices, it is also for the output devices. It is also for the display devices. So just like that, you cannot send the data and display now, right? Because there is some kind of protocol. So the protocol may be something like that. Suppose I'm telling Magna, you started conversion. I'm giving one command to the Magna, you start the conversion, right? That time Magna will read one sample of that fluctuating DC and she will convert it into the digital data. Then she will tell me sample is ready. You understand now? Then I will tell her, give me the sample. You got the idea, no? I will collect the sample now. Then again start conversion. Data sample is ready now. So some in between these two devices, some communication is going on. So what kind of communication now? You see here. So I'm telling her start conversion, nothing but SC. I'm giving one command. So I am giving one command in the sense I have only one wire now. So typically this fellow is 0. Whenever I'm making 0 to 1, this ADC will understand that the master has given me command to start the conversion. You understand now? So this device will look for the SE. This device initially looks for the SE. So whenever the start conversion goes from 0 to 1, then the ADC will immediately start its conversion now. So internally conversion means sampling, quantization, encoding, all these things are happening inside, you know. Once that operation is over, then the sample is ready now. The particular instant of sampling, the sample is ready now. Then this device will tell me, now sample is ready, right? End of conversion, EOC. That means my conversion is over. Understand now? So after initiating the start conversion, I got to look for the end of conversion now. So once the end of conversion is done, then I got to tell her, give me the data. Output enable, OE. Output enable. Again, I am making the particular pin to 120. Right? Output enable. Then the data will come out. I'm collecting the data. See, dear students, all these things are happening in nanosecond speed now. Don't think that it is comfortably taking. So Magna will tell me that star, you start your conversion, then Magna cannot go for coffee. because quickly it will be over. Nanosecond speed, microsecond speed now. So both device should be perfectly synchronized now. No time for relaxation there, no time for rest there, because everything is happening at a nanosecond speed, very ultra second speed, ultra speed mein chal raha, pura kaam here now. So start conversion, end of conversion, output enable. Start conversion, end of conversion, output enable. So this is the start conversion, end of conversion, output enable. No, this is what we called one measurement cycle. One measurement cycle. So the measurement cycle keep repeating. As long as you want to collect the data, it is keep repeating now, right? So ultimately, if you look for 1 minute data, you will have all the samples here. You will have all the samples here. So that the measurement data, measurement signal is available in your FPGA as a samples array. Maybe 1-dimension array, 2-dimension array, 3-dimension array based on your applications. You understand now? Right. So the idea is in the same way, any kind of input devices and any kind of output devices should be interfaced using that protocol, interface protocol. So before connecting the ADC or LCD or GLCD or HDMI or RS232 or your VGA interface or mobile phone, right, or printer, or any kind of devices you want to interface with the FPGA, you should be familiar with the interface protocols that is available in the data sheet. You no need to pray the God to teach you the protocol. No need. It is available in the data sheet. Just to go to the Google, download the data sheet, you read the data sheet, you will come to know the interface protocols. Perfectly, every company, manufacturer, they have given their interface protocols, right? But almost, if you take LCD can be designed, fabricated or manufactured by so many companies, but all the LCD will follow the same protocol only. There is no any difference in the protocols, right? Otherwise, people will not prefer to procure your LCD now. So you take ADC, you take a DAC, right? Suppose if you take one ADC 0804, so many companies are manufacturing, but the protocol is remains same. 7-segment display by so many companies, but the interface is protocol is remains same. RF, Bluetooth, Zigbee, right? Wi-Fi, fiber, FSO network, everything. So many companies are manufacturing, but the interface protocol is similar. Therefore, easily you can interface it now. You can interface with the FPGA now. So in this course, we are going to see some interface protocols, some devices through which you will understand what is interface protocol, how to write the program, right? How to create the architecture for those interface for the input as well as the output. That is the intention behind this course now, right? So this is very much essential for the industrial applications, various industrial applications. So type of digital switches and their interfaces already we have seen in the very first lecture. Correct or no? We have taken one switches. When you press the switch, 1 will come out. When you release the switch, 0 will come out, right? Or if you connect the switch niche wooper resistance, then if you press 0 will go there. If you press 1 will go there. That did you understand? Go to your very first day notes. Go to the very first day notes, and you will see that I will show you. I also will have here. These things we have seen, no? These switches. You understand now? These switches. These switches now. Anyway, just for our understanding, I will recall once again. So the digital switches, digital switch interface. It is simple. Analog switch is different from the digital switches that we have seen already, correct? Because analog switch will work in the high impedance state, but digital switch cannot work in the high impedance state. Digital switch should get 0 or 1, correct or no? You cannot hang the wire opened. So this is one kind of connection. Maybe 5 voltage. This is the push button, nothing but push button. Push button. This is the load resistance. We are measuring the input. This is going to FPGA. To FPGA, to any pin. right? So only the bad situation is you all are assuming no, it is going to FPGA. You didn't experience that feeling, no. We are missing here, because if you come here, you will understand going means what, how it will go, right? No, but now you got to assume that it is going to FPGA. So RL, now we are connecting to FPGA this pin now. Now you see, if switch is not connected, I mean switch is not pressed, it is unpressed condition. So obviously this 0 will come out, correct? No, this 0 will come out. So 0 is going into your FPGA. When I press the switch here, then these two points are connected together. Therefore, there is a current flow, right? Now it is a closed circuit. Previously it was open circuit, right? So now there is a current flow. Therefore, the voltage drop across this resistance. So you will get a 1 here. That means when you press the switch, 1 is going into FPGA. When we release the switch, 0 is going into FPGA. Correct or no? Then the same switch can be configured in other way. It is something like this. This is plus 5 voltage. Now you look here, I'm taking the input from here. Now what happened? When the switch is released, all the time there is a current flow. All the time there is a current flow because your circuit is internally grounded. Correct? No, your FPGA is internally grounded. So always there is a current flow. So always 1 is going now. Always 1 is going now. When you press the switch, this point is connected to this ground now. Correct? No. So the voltage drop will be across this resistance only. Therefore, you will get a 0 here. You will get a 0 here now. Perfect 0 will go there. So these two are the typical way of connecting the digital switches to FPGA. So here, if you plot the waveform, here this is a 0, right? Whenever you press the switch, 1 is going into FPGA now. That means all the time 0 is going. When the switch pressed, 1 is going. Correct or no? But when you look here, all the time 1 is going. When you press the switch, 0 is going now. So what kind of switch do you want to connect? Because it depends the internal architecture. So if you written the program, whenever 1 is coming, you do this operation. Whenever 0 is coming, you do this operation, because we don't have anything other than 0 and 1 in the digital switch, right? No, dip switch bay, you will get 1 or you will get 0 inside the FPGA now. So you have to write the program accordingly, what kind of switch you have or what kind of inputs do you need inside it to do your operations. So this kind of switch will give you always high voltage, always high. Whenever you press the switch, 0 will come and then again 1 will come. But here it is 0. Whenever you press the switch, 1 will come and then release the switch, 0 will come now, right? So this is the two different methods of connecting the digital interfaces with the FPGA. See, push button or tip switches, right? Or read switches, all right? All these kind of switches are giving this kind of behavior only. There's no any more difference, because I told you cannot keep it opened. Opened condition, no, there is no any open conditions in the digital platform, first of all, unlike our electronics. Even in analog switches are possible. The fan control, all those things are open circuit, means no current, though, therefore nothing will work out. But here in binary, you should feed 1 or you should feed 0 now, right? So these two are called the digital switch interfaces, right? So that we have shown already in the lab. The next one is
excuse me, sir. Sorry, sir. Sir, yeah, sir, in the VHDL programming, that is in the Viva, there is a state called Z, that is high impedance state. That is possible in the software level.
That is internally.
Internally. So we can't replicate the same at the output or input level.
No. Because it's, for example, it is something like that. That is for internal locking. That means, suppose you don't want to any process for certain condition, you can make your internal circuits high impedance.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay, but externally, what happened? Suppose your FPGA is here. For example, you assume FPGA is here, no, and you are taking one pin connecting to one particular wire, and if you leave it hang, what happened? Yes. This is not properly. I mean, there is no plus 5 voltage as well as there is no ground, no. So what happened? This fellow may get a weak 1 or may get a weak 0, or may get a strong 1 or may get a strong 0. Means Suppose 5 voltage is your one, no, you should apply at least above 4.5 voltage. That is called a strong one.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
0.5 to 4.5 is called weak one now. Weak one now. Then you are
Okay.
so if you leave it unconnected, that can be 0 or 1. It is uncontrolled input. Sometimes 0 will go, sometimes 1 will go. Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Therefore,
So
there is a chance
at
for
internal
fault.
level, we can define high impedance and stuff, but at the output and input level, we have to give the strong one and strong zero.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Even that input level also is not advisable actually. That means instead of forcing your circuit to high impedance, no, you force your circuit to some initial conditions or some temporary conditions now, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, good. Then the next one is LED interfaces. So LED interface, these are all very popular devices. LED, right? You can see in so many places LED will blink, no, because that is an indication 1 or 0 like that, right? So again, there are two types of interface with LED. LED is output device, correct? No, LED is not the input device. So something like that. LED should be connected with one resistance all the time. Otherwise, no, Gaya. Because this we can work with 2.5 voltage only. So you need to put one dropping current limiting resistance so that some more voltage drop here and here. So it will work now. This is the LED now. Maybe this is 1 kilo ohm, for example. This is from FPGA. From FPGA. Now look here. Suppose whenever the 5 voltage is, whenever the FPGA is giving 1, whenever the FPGA is forcing 1, right? I think you can make out to know when FPGA is forcing 1 means, do you understand what do I mean? That means in your architecture, you are giving 1, you are assigning 1 to the output variable, correct? No? So 1 is coming out here. So that 1 means some voltage will come out with respect to the common ground, right? So that current will flow there, that voltage drop is there now. So now in this kind of connection, if you force 1 here, then your LED is on. If you force 0 here, then your LED is off. Your LED is off now. Because the anode of the LED is connected to the FPGA through the resistance. The resistance you can drop, you can keep here or you can keep here. Because it will be the series resistance, that's all. You can keep it before or after. It should limit the current. That is the intention now. Then in alternatively another connection, again this is coming from the FPGA. Suppose if you connect something like this, 5 voltage, this is the LED. Now from FPGA, now again this is 1 kilo ohm, for example. If you look now, your FPGA, if FPGA also is giving you 1, already here positive potential is connected to the anode of the LED. So the cathode also at a positive potential, anode also positive potential. So the LED will not glow now. Correct? No. So whenever 1 you are giving, it is off. Whenever 0 you are giving, it is on. It is on. Right? But there is no any condition that only this is good, this is bad, aisa nahi hai. Right? But you can say that something like this, since your FPGA cannot force the high voltage, because it is a very low power device, it cannot force a high voltage to make your LED on. So you can prefer this kind of connections. By making 0, you can make the LED on, right? But there is no any, any limitations telling that this is good, this is bad. Aisa nahi hai. Two different kind of configurations. So whenever you buy some LED array, suppose 10 LEDs are there, you want to use as output devices, no, you should know that what kind of configuration is already made in that array, whether that is in a common anode or common cathode. Understand now? For example, suppose one more also I connected, one more LED also I connected now, the same connection, but here these two are connected together and grounded, because ground can be common in this connection. This is coming from maybe some P1, this is coming from the P2 FPGA, maybe 203, this is 2P204. Correct? No? So see, these two, there are two control outputs from the FPGA. So that by properly forcing the value into these two control output of in your FPGA, you can make this LED on off, this LED on off. Understand now? But these two common anodes, cathodes are grounded, commonly grounded now. Correct? So if it is a common anode, this is called a common cathode. If it is a common anode, if it is a common cathode, then you need to force 1 to drive the LED. Am I clear? If it's a common cathode. If it is a common anode, then you need to force 0 to drive the LED. 0 to drive the LED. Correct or no? Anvisha, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nadeem?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So this is the two different types of LED interfaces now, right? Next one is 7-segment display. I think this week I've discussed already, right? 7-segment display. 7-segment display interface. We have done the lab experiment also for this one, correct? Some increasing the number, decreasing the number. So you know, right? Then this in the LED is there, no? The advanced version of the LED is called a 7-segment display. Right? 8 segments are connected together and then connected common, something like this. Right. Samburn also shown you the demonstration, no? This one. Now you look here, this device, no? Here, suppose if it is the common cathode 7-segment display, then all the cathodes are internally connected together. This cathode, this one, right? This one, then this one, all are connected together, and then they are connected to one pin. This pin is the ground pin. Now. Then all the anodes are there, no? All those anodes are available for the FPGA control. All these anodes, no, they are available here for the FPGA control now. So by feeding the proper way, you know how to find the value for to display 0, to display 1, to display 2, 3, 4. So 0 to F you can display here. Correct, no? So this is what we call the common cathode. So for common cathodically, what do you need to force from the FPGA to drive the 7-segment display? 1. Correct, 1. If it is a common anode, then we have to force the 0. Alternatively, we have to force the 0. So when you buy the 7-segment display, first you should know whether that is in common cathode configuration or common anode configuration. Then only we can go for writing the program to display the numbers. Right? So using the 7-segment display, you can go for 0 to F, F to 0. Understand? So based on some conditions, you can count 0 to 5 or 5 to 0. So those are all the logics now. Those are all the logics. But we should know how to interface 7-segment display with our FPGA. Once you interface it, then remaining all are the logical part. Suppose I can tell you there are 2 switches. If one switch is pressed, it should work as a up counter. If it is a second switch is pressed, it should convert. It should act as a down counter. Or both switches are pressed, it should function as a even counter. Or both are 0, should function as a odd. Your questions will be like this only. Your practical questions, no, T1, T2 kaliye questions will be like that only. I will give you some kind of chota level industrial problem. You all should understand, write the program, simulate it, send me the code, simulation result and RTL diagram. Then we have group here. That group will simulate your program. If it is whether giving you the expected output or not. If it is giving you expected output, then you will get 10 marks. Slightly giving the 9 marks. Thoda niche 8 marks. I like that it will go now. Okay, now I think we have seen the program, right? I think we have seen the program. VHDL simple code for this one and code for this one and code for this one also. Right now, so you organize all the codes together for your practice now. I send you some codes already now. So this is the 7-segment display now. So more than one 7-segment display is there now. 2 7-segment display, then we should go for the driving the 7-segment display and then feeding the data now, right? That what we called a 7-segment array. 7-segment array, right? Then ISK advanced is called a multi-segment display. ISK advanced is called a multi-segment display. Multi-segment display, but we do not include it in this course. We will include it in the DSP course. But I will tell you what is that multi-segment. Multi-segment means there will be 1,000 LEDs, 1,000 or 10,000 LEDs. You might have seen in the railway station and the airport, no? You can see that Jana Sadapti Express, platform number, arrival time, departure time. That the character will move, no? You can see that. If you go and closely watch that one, so many LEDs will be there. Understand now, in the some particular row under the column. So the character will be moved now. If you travel in the metro train, you can see that Andheri railway station, next station. Correct? No? Then next station is coming now. That is moving like this. The moving characters. So that what we called a multi-segment display. In the multi-segment display, you can move the characters. But in 7-segment display, also you can move the character. You can move the letters. Correct? No? LED will give you on-off status. 7-segment display will give you some character. I mean, some letter 0 to F. Correct? No? Letter 0 to F. But multi-segment display will show you the character. You can show some pictures there at a very poor quality. Very poor quality, you can show some pictures now. Understand the idea, no? Okay. Then next multi-segment display. Next one is called the LCD, liquid crystal display. Liquid crystal display may you can show everything at improved resolution. Improved, you can show the character, you can show the images, ASCII characters. Understand now? You can show the plus symbol, you can show the minus symbol. All ASCII characters can be displayed here. All ASCII characters can be displayed here. There are 0, 0 to FF ASCII characters. Matlab 0 to 255. 255 ASCII characters are there. You can display all these ASCII characters in the LCD display. Then ISK advanced version is a GLCD, graphical liquid crystal display. Very popular nowadays. Graphical liquid crystal display. Understand? Now after this GLCD, because these are all the crystal display, after this GLCD, because of VLSI technology, again they moved back into LED. They reduced the LED bada size into chota size. Right? You know the normal LED, no? The normal LED is very big in size. Something like that. You see here, this below. Kitna bada hai? Understand, no? But now they reduced the size into some micrometer resolution and then they go for improved display. So that what we call the LED display nowadays, LED TV, LED projector, LED display. Because they reduced the LED, LED driving is very simple than driving the GLCD and the LCD and all. Correct. But there are some applications still with the GLCD and LCD. So doesn't mean that the LED TV replaced the GLCD and LCD. So your phone is again GLCD only. Phone display, projector display, then your digital personal assistance display, all are GLCD only now. So all are equally important. We should know all the interfaces now. So the LCD, GLCD. GLCD also we put it in the next course. LCD we will see now. What is LCD? How to connect it with the FPGA now, right? Next one is LCD. Okay, fine. We will go to the LCD now. LCD interface. This is very interesting and very important interface. LCD interface. We will understand first what is LCD now. I will show you two devices. In LCD. I will present my screen now. This image, I will show you image otherwise. This is there now. This is called a 2x16 LCD. 2x16 LCD. That means in the first row you can display 16 character. Second row you can display the 16 characters now. You see this is a 2x16 line LCD display. So there are 16 pixels available now, right? So that you can use 16 pixels here to display the 16 ASCII characters. All ASCII characters can be displayed: plus, minus, and symbol, division, multiplication, star, right? Slash, less than, greater than, question mark. So all the ASCII characters, that means whatever is there in your computer keyboard, no, all those things can be displayed in this one now, right? So whenever you have the application of this kind of display, that means you don't want to display more than 2 lines, then you can go for this kind of display. Suppose I want display 3 lines, maybe voltage is this much, current is this much, power is this much, or temperature is this much, you know, then we should go for another kind of display, that is a 4x16, this kind of displays. This also LCD, this also LCD display. You see there are 4 16 characters. Here also 16 character, here also 16 character, here also 16 character, right? In some companies, no, they are giving more than 16 characters also, 20, 25 character also they are giving, right? But there is no any change in the interface protocol, that you should understand. This is a 20x4 line LCD display, right? See temperature, humidity, voltage, current. This kind of LCD is more popular in the industries now. You can see any industrial product. So to understand what is going on inside, or what is the measurement value at the particular instant of time, they go for the LCD based displays. Okay. Then there are background lights. This is white display. This one is the yellow color background, then black display. Right. So this does not change our algorithm, interface protocols. It is the internal wiring now. Then this is the display character. So you can display the character the way you want. See, you can start the first here. You can start the second display here. You can start the third one, fourth one here. So you can do anything, right? But now you can start your display from here to here, matlab left to right, or you can do it from right to the left also. Or one is here and one is here, one is here, one is here. So you can play around this LED. This LCD, the way you want to display, no, you can make the running character, you can get the moving character here, right to left to right. You can make the cursor on, cursor off, blinking cursor. So whatever you do in the computer monitor, you can do here, but not exactly the same way. You can do the same applications in a very little level now, right? So you see here plus, you can display. Understand? See here, you can display here. So these things are possible by using the LCD display now, right? And the LCD, this is the front view. If you see the back view, this is the back view of the LCD. Okay, I will show you here otherwise. Look at this one. This is the back view, rear view of this LCD. This one now, right? So uske piche, if you see, you can see these things. The display will be there. There are 3 dots. No, this dot is called ASIC IC. This is called ASIC IC, application specific integrated ICs. Like Pindi, no, Pindi, right? Chota, this is not this much bada size. If you see in the real time, real display device, it is very, very chota. It is approximately the size of the Bindi, right? So look here, this has internal architecture. There is a processor, there is a controller, correct? No, and these are all called the interface pins. 1 to 16 pins are there. So this 1 to 16 pins will be used for our interface with the FPGA. So you are going to communicate to this device from the FPGA, right, through these pins only now. And these pins are internally connected to this chip. Then they are again connected to this chip. They are all the internal part. So since we are going to talk to this device through these chips from the FPGA, I needed to follow what this fellow will understand. I needed to write or I need to talk to this fellow the way he can understand. Correct? No? I cannot talk to the way I know. Right? So when I am writing the program, Now you come to this display. Can you able to see the display now? Acha, no, I have to stop the sharing. Okay. Abhi theek hai? So this is LCD. This is LCD. This is our master. FPGA is always master. Master. This is going there now. Something like that. You assume. Right now you assume like this. Correct? So this master is going to talk to this LCD now. My intention is I want display something there. We want display Surabhi. How are you? Right. Then Sai Pallavi. How are you? We want display something here now. So to display ke liye, we need to definitely build some architecture here. Required or not? Some digital system should be built here now. So architecture or digital system. Digital system is nothing but architecture. Architecture should be built. Should be built now, right? But building architecture is simple. We know how to build the architecture. But what do you write in the program? Correct? No. What is the logic you needed to follow? Correct? No. So what we need to write in the program? For what application we need to build the architecture? For what is the use here? How to frame that use? How to frame the architecture? Is completely depends this fellow interface protocol. Interface protocol. Interface protocol. So one should be familiar with that interface protocol now. That means I should know how can I talk to this LCD now, right? Suppose you are there. Suppose I am telling chung chang kung chang king chong king chong. Did you understand anything? I also do not know. Just I told something you, right? Because whenever I am telling something like this, you will not understand because you also do not know. Assume that I know Chinese language. So I'm talking in Chinese language. Will you understand? You will not understand at all, provided if you do not know that language now. So the idea is something like that. So I am going to give some command to this person, that the command should be such a way that that fellow can understand. Right? So I should be familiar with the protocol of this fellow now. What that fellow understand? What is that protocol now? How can I interface the device with the FPGA now? Because this is my headache now. LCD is a bacha. That fellow is somewhere here. I want to make use of this one with my FPGA for my application now. So I need to listen to this fellow now. I cannot take one lakdi. Are baba, you understand Chinese language, you learn, and then you work according to my instruction. Aisa nahi hoga. So I got to understand what this fellow will understand. Correct? No? Then accordingly, we need to write the program. That's what we called interface protocol or communication protocol. Dear students, this is required for any kind of devices at the input side as well as at the output side. Right? We should be familiar with the protocols. Right? It is very simple. You don't worry. That is a very big one. You need to refer the Bible or Bhagavad Gita to understand. Kuch nahi hai. Just you have to read only the data sheet. Just read the data sheet, 10 pages or 15 pages. Then that company fellow know clearly mentioned there. Because if it is not clearly mentioned, who will buy that company LCD and then use? That is their headache. That fellow will clearly explain the data sheet like explaining to a bacha, child. Because then only they will buy and use, no. So that is their headache. So they have done their job well. Good. Now we will understand protocol for this one now. What is that protocol? That protocol is only the pins we have. This is LCD. This is LCD, maybe 2 by 16 LCD. There are 16 pins I told you, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. There are 16 pins now, right? Our master is somewhere sitting here. Our FPGA is sitting here now. Do you have any other option to connect it to LCD? No. Other than the 16 pins, I don't have anything to communicate to the LCD now. Because I cannot open that IC and go sit inside and see what is going on there. Nothing. Only these 16 pins are available. The 16 pins are left to me. So I have to connect to this LCD using these 16 pins only now. Correct? So first of all, we should understand what are they. So wherever you go for a peripheral interface, we should know what are the pins there. What is the use of that pins now? What is the description of that pins now? Right? That is the most important now. Right? So I am writing here, the first pin is the ground pin. First pin is the ground pin. Second pin is the VCC. Second pin is the VCC pin. Third pin is the contrast adjustment pin. Contrast adjustment. I tell you what does it mean? Contrast adjustment. Brightness adjustment. Then the fourth pin, that fourth pin is register select, RS. Fifth pin is read or write. Sixth pin is enable. Seventh pin to 14th pin is the command or data. Clearly listen. If you understood this one, then all your doubts will be clarified. What is interface? What is protocol? 14th pin is data. That means I can write something like that. D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, D7, data or command or C1, C2, C3 also Lico. Then the 15th, 14 is here. No, 14 is here. Then the 15th pin is a LED plus and the 16th pin is a ground, LED ground. But ground is a ground, no. All the grounds are ground only now. All the grounds are ground. So 16th pin is ground now. Right. We will understand these things first. The LED plus LED ground is there, no. This is for the background light. There is one background light at this place of this LCD just to read the display in the night time. Because the night time, no, if your background is a white color and the characters are black color, no, but it is not that much bright white, no. Night time you cannot read it. You will experience it when you come here, right? Night time, no, LED data cannot be read. Not all the LCD, some kind of LCD now. The crystal is a dim color. The background crystal is a dim color and the character is in the black color, so you cannot see it in the right time. Therefore, there is one LED here, that is normal LED. So that LED, if you make it on, no, so that LED will illuminate here so that you can read the data in the night time now. So this LED is only for reading the value in night time. In the night time. Night time means generally I'm telling you, you can make it on in daytime also. Kuch nahi hoga. Therefore, this two has no control with the LCD interface. That we came to know. Correct? Because independent action, no, this is independent display now, right? Then you come here. This is the ground, this is the VCC. So since this is the crystal, right, crystal display, so 5 by 18 are there for every pixel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is called 1 pixel now. Like that another pixel. Like that another pixel. So like that there are 16. Here also 16. Right? So every crystal, this is one crystal, cube. Every crystal can display one character. Every crystal can display one character. Correct? No? So this crystal will display the character by its illumination. Means suppose you want display 7, no, then this row and this row will be illuminated. This row will be eliminated. This is not our job. That job is by the background ASIC ICs. Iske piche ASIC ICs are there, no? That ICs will take care that operations. Just you needed to tell to that device, I want display 7 at this place. Correct, no? Then that IC will understand this fellow want to display 7 at this pixel. Then it will internally process the data and then it will internally illuminate the particular crystals to display the 7 now. That is not our job. So that means our master no needed to do anything at the crystal level. At the crystal level. We needed to do only at the pixel level. Only at the pixel level. Pixel level means all these crystals combined together called one pixel. Like this. At the pixel level. But in a GLCD, we should play at the crystal level. That is why we have more control. We can go for more brightness, more accurate imaging. Display. Right. So, this ground and this VCC is for this crystal operations. Inside the ASIC is there, no? That ASIC operations, VCC and ground. But this fellow is there, no? By adjusting this pin, right? By adjusting its potential voltage, you can able to control the brightness of the crystal illumination. Brightness of the crystal illumination. It will go to one preset potentiometer. So by adjusting this pin, no, by tuning this one with the preset, you can adjust the illumination intensity of the crystal. Some YouTube lecture now you can see all those things. If you put that LCD interface and illumination control, no, there are a lot of YouTube lectures. If you are here, no, you can experience all those things here. You can tune and you can see the brightness variation. You will experience it and you will enjoy. TK. Then the next one is the register select. If the register select is equal to, if the register select, no, the register select is equal to 0. If it is 0, this is called register select is a command. 0 means command. I will tell you what is command. If it is 1, no, this is called data or character. Character. That means as long as your RS equal to 0, then whatever the value you are pumping here, whatever the value you are sending, 8-bit value you are sending here, that will be treated as a command. So there are some set of commands in the LCD, right? So that commands are required here to prepare the LCD to display the values. To display the values. To display the, why do we need the command then? Why do we need the command? There is a question no now. The command is required because the command is required for these things. One is whether you want to display your character in the first row or second row. We should inform to the LCD. Correct, no? And then second, whether you want to start your display from the first pixel or third pixel. That also we should inform to the LCD. Correct, no? And whether you want the cursor to blink or you don't want the cursor to blink. That also we should inform to the LCD. And then whether you want display from left to right or right to left. Right? Or you want to update the new display without erasing the previous display, or you want to erase it and then you want to initiate the new display now. So cleaning the screen is required or not. You understand the idea now? So in order to prepare the LCD to display the characters the way we want, we needed to give the command into the LCD now. So as long as we are giving the command, the RS equal to 0. So as long as, because this is coming to FPGA now, RS is coming to FPGA. RS is coming to FPGA. Then R bar W is coming to FPGA. Enable is coming to FPGA. And all this digital data, 8-bit is coming to FPGA. Remaining all are not coming to FPGA. Remaining all are managed within that board. Correct, no? Within the LCD board now. So here is our FPGA now. Our master is here. So FPGA can control the register select or read bar write or enable and then data or command now. So as long as the FPGA maintains the RS is 0, then it can give the data one by one here. You understand now? So that all the data will be taken as the command only by the FPGA or by the LCD, as only the command by the LCD now, right? Then what are all the commands? There are some set of commands given by the LCD manufacturers now, right? We will see those commands now. LCD display commands. LCD display commands. I'm showing you those commands now. I will tell you now. For example, you take down something. Otherwise, you can take down now. I will tell you some important keys. Remaining things you can refer in my book. Page number 21. In my book, no, page number 217. Page number 217. In my book, page number 217, you can refer. See, for example, if you send a 01, if you send a 01, clear the screen. 01 is clear the screen. That means whatever is already displayed, no, that will be cleared. If you send a 01, clear the screen. So whenever RS equal to 0, whenever your RS equal to 0, understand, whatever you are sending from here will be taken by the LCD ASIC ICS command. Understand now? So it will not display any character. It will take it as a command and it prepares itself now. 01 is a clear the screen. 02, return to home. Return to home means the first pixel. It will come to the first pixel wherever it is. 04, decrement cursor. That means a left to right display. Left to right display. 06, 04 is a right to left display. Right to left is display. 06 is a left to right display. And then 08 display of cursor off. 0A display of cursor on. Cursor means a blinking cursor. One cursor will blink in the LCD like a computer cursor. No, it will blink. Okay, no, so like that there are set of commands now. Then this starting address is 80. The starting address of the first pixel is 80. Starting address of second pixel is C0. C0. And 38, no, 38 is initiating the LCD. 38, no, 38 is initiating the LCD. 38, because these are all the commands given by the manufacturer now. We should not question that why 38, why 39, because they have set the ASIC IC such a way that that ASIC IC no, will be prepared by this way only. 38 means this one, 01 means clear the screen. Cursor on, cursor off, left shift, right shift. C0 means second row starting address. 80 means first row starting address. In then increment cursor right, decrement cursor left. Okay, no? So there are set of commands you can see in my book now. So those commands are very much essential to prepare your LCD to display the characters the way you want, right? So first we needed to perform this action. In the LCD interface, you need to make the RS equal to 0 and then pump all your values now, right? That pumping also is there. Then that is the RS now. You understand now? RS equal to 0 means whatever we are sending from here will be taken by the LCD as command only now. Then whenever you make RS equal to 1, then whatever you are sending here will be taken as the character and then there is a display. And then there will be the display now. You got the idea now? So RS equal to 0, yes, Uma.
So this instruction 0 and 1, how are we sending this to the LCD? Is it?
Wait, I'm coming. Wait, I'm coming now. I'm coming to it. Huh?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So RS equal to 0 means whatever we are sending will be taken as command. RS equal to 1 means character. Therefore, there is a display now. Whenever you make RS equal to 1 and whatever you are sending there will be displayed there. There is a action, display action. So as long as RS equal to 0, no display action, right? And then you cannot send whatever you want to send because that should be from the set of command. That is already given by the manufacturer now. If you send something else, then that ASIC IC will not understand. It will break its brain. What bloody this fellow is sending so many things which is not part of the command. You understand now? So whenever RS equal to 0, you should send only the commands that is there already, because that is already stored in that ASIC IC. So if 01 is coming, it will prepare itself to clear the screen. 80 is coming, it will understand that this person want to start the display from the first pixel of the first display, or right shift, left shift, or zigzag shift. Understand the idea, no? So that RS equal 0, you should send only the predetermined commands to the LCD, right? Okay. Now we go to the R bar W now, right? That means the R bar W, no, if the R bar W is 1, it is a read command. It is read. The R bar W is 0, it is a write now. We will not read anything from the LCD. Right now you assume like that. The reading we will see in the DSP course now, right? So in this course, we are going to maintain the R bar W is equal to 0. That means I am going to write from the FPGA into LCD. I am not going to read anything from the LCD into FPGA. But there is an option. There is an option you can read also. But right now we will not touch that part, right? That part will be in the next semester course. So R bar W will be 0. That means I am going to write from here to here. I will write a command or I will write the character. I will write a command or I will write the data from FPGA into LCD. That means I am going to keep my LCD only in the writing mode. Matlab, I am going to send the data into LCD. So LCD will receive it and perform the command action or display action. That's all. I am not going to ask the LCD to give me something. Right? No, to give me something. That case, I should put the LCD in the reading mode, right? Okay. So that now you assume it is in the 0 only now. Then next is enable now. Next is enable. The enable is very much important now. So RS timing diagram I am drawing now. RS R bar W. The R bar W will be always 0. Always 0. Right. Initially this fellow should be 0. Initially this fellow should be 0. And that data pin, no? Data pin. There are 8 pins now. There are 8 pins now. Correct? No? 8 pins means, suppose I want to send 01. I want to send 01 here. Right? So I want to send 01 means this is a BCD representation. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 is nothing but my 01H. Nothing but my 01H now. So now I want to clear the screen. That is my intention now. So I want to clear the screen means first I needed to make this RS equal to 0 that I already made. Clear. Then R bar W is 0 only because I am not going to read anything from the FPGA. Therefore it is 0 only. Now this is also 0. And then data I am giving here 01H means what? If these 8 pins are there now. So 8 pins may, this is MSB, this is LSB. So 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 1, you have to force. Because this is your output now. Data, LCD underscore data is your output now. Correct? No? From the FPGA consent, it is output now. So therefore, you force this 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 into that pin. Right? After forcing now, you can send it here, but LCD will not accept it now. LCD will look for the enable pin. LCD will look for the enable pin now. Right? So, the enable pin, no, the next one is the enable pin. Enable, LCD will accept it. LCD is always, if it is 1, maybe assume if it is 1, no, 1, then this is 1 now. So now you at this instant, you look at this incident. Look at this incident. Proper RS is applied, RW is chosen, data also is given, right? So the data is available at the LCD, but the ASIC IC will not accept it. ASIC IC will not accept it. When the falling edge comes, when the enable gives you fall, because enable has my control only, no? So after doing all those things, you force 0 to your LCD now. When this falling edge comes, then this data will be taken in by the ASIC IC of our LCD now. Right. So this data will go inside then your ASIC IC will understand this is a command and that fellow want to clear the screen, right? Then you make this fellow high. Make this fellow high. This is called one display cycle. One display cycle. I'm sorry, one display or one action cycle. Now command only we have given, no. So one action cycle now, right? Then you want to give some more command, you give here. Another command, maybe 80H. Another command. So whatever you are giving here is command only right now because still RS is 0. Am I clear to all of you? Okay. Then again you give one. 80 means what? 10000000. This is called 80H. This is called 80H now. Correct? Then you apply one falling edge. So it is taken inside. Then you keep high. Change the value, right? So the once you needed to maintain the RS equal to 0 till giving the command. Till giving the command. Then you bring this pin 1. Sorry, make it 1. 1, right? After 1, whatever you are at this instant of time, you are allowed to give your character. You want display here Sai Pallavi. You want display Nadeem. You want display Umang. So this Umang, U-M is the character now. Now you can give the ASCII value of that U. You can feed here now. You choose the feed. You choose the what's the ASCII value of U. Then you give one falling edge. You use the M ASCII value of M. M means is the character, no? M how can you feed M? M is the letter. So what is his ASCII value now? Right? 0 means 30. 0 means ASCII value is 30. 1 means ASCII value 31. 2 means 32 now. So whenever you are giving 0011 000, then it will display you 0. If you send 31, it will display 1. So you need to feed the ASCII values. So then 40 for capital A, 41, 42, 43. Go to the ASCII table. In the internet, you will come to know those values. ASCII table. You can see this is the ASCII table. Are you seeing my screen? No, na? I will press decimal. You see here. If you send A, right? You see vertical tab. You look here. It has every meaning now. Just you come to the number. 30 means 0. X value 30H means 0. 31H means 1. 32H means 2. 303H means 3. 34H means 4. Right? And then go to capital A. 41 is capital A. 42 is capital B. So you want to display Nadeem, then first you should send a 4E. Then you should send a 41H. 41. Right? Like this. Then Chota A ke liye 61, 62, 63, 64. Then this bracket, this slash, this square bracket, question mark, greater than, equal to, less than. You understand now? So 20H is a space. Where is it? 20? 20 is a space now. So that means no display will be in the particular pixel now. Understand now? So dear students, the LCD, right? And then computer also will accept only ASCII characters now. Stop screen. Please understand, this is very, very important industrial question now. How do you connect it to LCD? What is ASCII characters? How do you display the ABCD? How you display 1, 2, 3, 4 number? Correct? No? Your computer also will understand ASCII. Your LCD also will understand ASCII. That is why our keyboard is the ASCII keyboard now. If you press A will not go there. 41 only will go there. If you press Chota A, 61 only will go there. If you press 1, 31 only will go there. Right? So it is a ASCII keyboard. So ASCII value, we should display the ASCII value now. You understand now? So first we have to prepare the LCD for using its command. Then we have to send the display characters, whatever we want display in the LCD. Then this is a continuation now. It is going. Then you come back. Again you refresh. Again you continue your display. So the way you want, you can do it there now. Understand? So this what we called timing diagram. timing diagram, right? The timing diagram is nothing but the timing representation of your interface protocol. So every interface, every peripheral interface, there is a timing diagram. There is a timing diagram, every peripheral interface. So who will do all those things? Enable, making a 1, 0. We are only FPGA will do. Who will change RS equal to 0 and 1? FPGA only will do. So, but this slave will listen the command of that RS pin and enable pin. Accordingly, this poor fellow will act. And then that LCD will display the characters. Understand now? So the timing diagram is very much essential. To interface any device, you should know the timing diagram. If you are good at the timing diagram, any data set, there is a timing diagram. If you understand the timing diagram, then writing the program is very, very simple. Any device, any control becomes very simple if you are good at the interface protocol now. You understand the idea now? So please listen, there is a timing diagram. There is no timing cycle is there. There is no machine cycle. Machine cycle is only for the embedded system. No machine cycle for the VLSI technology, FPGA particularly, correct? Because FPGA may no instructions. Matlab, move means it has some time. Add C, increment, decrement, yes jump. There is a machine cycle for all those things. You might have studied in your UG, microprocessor, microcontroller course, correct? No? But in FPGA, there is no machine cycle, only the timing cycle. Because nothing is there. Direct action. If you send one pin high, there is an action. Because the high will not go to one instruction, that instruction will take some more time, right? There is no machine cycle, only it is a timing cycle now. Any doubt on this one, please ask me before going into the program.
Sir, D0 is our LSB and D7 is the MSB.
D0 is LSB, D7 is MSB. D7 is MSB. Accordingly, we got send the data. This should go to the MSB. This should go to the LSB.
Okay, sir.
So I have one doubt. So here only 16 pins are there, but we are using 2 rows of LEDs, right? The segments.
I'm not getting. 2 rows means I'm not getting you.
2 cross 16 we are using, right?
Correct.
So, how is the data like? We have only D0 to D7 if we consider. So how is it?
Right, okay. Understood. Okay, I got your question. You don't think it in the multiplexing way. That means I tell you, you are comparing with the multiplexing, no?
Yes, sir.
No. I will tell you it is how this is working. Right, 10 mark is there for a very, active participation in the lecture. I know Nadim name, I know Anvisha, I know Surabhi, I know Sai Pallavi, then I know Nadim, I know Shankar, I know Arjit. These people will get 10 marks. Rajat, I know. Then still some people are very passive, right? Okay, you should move to active mode. Okay, now this is the 1 pixel. This is another pixel now. This first pixel. This is the last pixel in the first row. Last pixel in the second row. This address is 80H. This address is C0H. Okay, no? While preparing the display, I will inform to the LCD the starting address is 8H. Okay, no? Second thing, second 8H. Second thing, I will inform to this LCD there is the right shift. So the LCD will understand that I want to start the display from the first pixel, and then the second character will be automatically in the second pixel, third character will be third pixel, because I told to the LCD that 8H is the starting address, and then there is the increment, cursor increment now, right? So whenever using this 8 bit, whenever you are sending the first character, maybe N, automatically the pitch IC, that IC will display that N here. Then next another character is there, no? One falling edge will come, then rising edge, another falling edge will come, no? That I am A, then automatically this A will be displayed here only now. Because we informed to the LCD, we prepared the LCD such a way that there is a right shift, increment cursor, and then starting address is 80. You understand now? So you don't need to separately inform to the, you don't need to separately choose the address. You need to give only the starting address and then the increment. That much is enough now. Suppose if you give, this is 80, this is 81 Hachi, this is 82 Hachi now. Like that, this is 8F Hachi now. So if you give our starting address is 83 Hachi, then your N will automatically go to this pixel only. So the display will begin from here only now. Understand now? So you no need to choose the address and then send the display. No need here, because initially we are informed to the LCD starting address and then increment. So automatically it will take care. Understand now? Any more questions?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, you said that we can read from LCD, right? So that means we can connect multiple processors to the LCD at the same time?
No. That read means you cannot read the value. You can read only the status of the LCD. I tell you, since you asked me,
Yes.
I will give you the brief idea. Suppose see, now the question is, Shankar, no? Now the question is, suppose I'm sending 01 here, right? I'm sending 01 here. I'm giving you one falling edge here, right? Then that time the LCD will accept this 01 and then internally it will do some operations. That means it will understand 01 means clear the screen. So it will go for clearing the screen now, right? So the action will take some time. That is called a processing time for the LCD now. So what we will do, we will leave some time here, generally maybe some 1 microsecond, for example, 1 microsecond we are leaving now, right? Assuming that that action will be completed well in before this 1 microsecond time, within this 1 microsecond now, right? So after 1 microsecond, again I am making this pin high, again this pin high. So even when it is in the falling edge, here you can give the second value also, because LCD will not accept it. LCD will accept the value only for the falling edge. Falling edge now. So second command you can feed, you can change at this instant also, nothing will affect it. Here also you can do, nothing will affect now, right? Because it will accept only at this edge now. Now the question is, I'm giving some delay here, then I'm making it to 1, then I'm giving the new value, again I'm applying no. So whether do I need this much time really? Understand? And whether this LCD is really occupied this much amount of time for doing the job corresponding to the previous command or previous character. How do I reduce the time? How do I optimize the time now? You understand now? Therefore, that can be checked by the particular pin now, whether the LCD is still busy or not. So as long as LCD is busy, this MSB pin is there, no? So after sending your command or data into the LCD, as long as the D7th pin will be 0, as long as LCD is busy. Once the LCD will complete that action, no, then that pin will become 1 now. So I can read that status now, then quickly I can send to the another character now. You understand now? So in order to increase the throughput, means in order to increase the action cycle speed, display speed now, we needed to read the status of the LCD, whether that is busy or free. If it is busy, you cannot send the another value. If it is free, you can send the another value. So there may be, if it is free, you can immediately make here like this, then you can give the new value and you can apply the rise falling edge at this instant also, instead of waiting this much time and do it now. Do that action. You understand now? But normally we will not go for that, because if you display at a very high speed, no, you cannot read. Suppose now LCD is a human reading, no, we are reading. It is something like that. One 7-segment display is there. You display the number at the speed of 1 microsecond, 1 megahertz. Can you able to understand? So it is same way it is in the LCD also. Suppose Nadi Mumang, you display at the speed of megahertz, what will you see? All the crystal is on. You cannot read anything. No? So that much speed is not needed. Therefore, normally we will not go for that.
But sir, if we apply, if suppose our D7 bit is a data, in that case also it will be valid, because
oh yes, because once your falling edge is applied, no, then your data will be taken inside.
Yes, sir.
Then automatically ASIC IC will change the D7 into the status mode.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
So you can read that status inside the FPGA, because inside the FPGA you can go for bidirectional switch, no? Tri-state switch. One switch can act as input as well as output.
Yes, sir. I have. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Understand now? Okay. Any more questions related to this one?
So I have one. You said about the continuous display, like for the example of train station, you said indicators. So for that also the right shift command is also only used, continuous command.
Even multi-segment display you are telling?
No, in LCD only, in this display only, the characters, if they are continuously going on from.
No. That logic is different. That you have to logically shift it.
Okay.
That is different. This is different. Because now we are giving starting address means first character here, second character here, third character here, fourth character here.
Okay.
It is a static display. So this will show always that n only. This will show always at m only. But you want to make the moving display, then that is a logical matter.
Okay, sir.
So you have to display here n first, then you have to select this address and then display n, then select this address, display m, because there is not only the uniform increment, no. In the LCD drive there is a right increment or left increment, but in that kind of display there is a right increment, right to left, no. So
Yes.
logically we have to manage.
Okay, sir. And in this, for each display, we have to command and the data.
No need. Only starting address you have to give. Initial command.
Okay.
Prepare the LCD, then you no need to go for the command section. Then everything is only the display section.
Okay, sir.
That is why the internal IC will take care of all those things. There is memory, there is RAM, that will take care of everything. That is the job of that piche wala, pindi wala. Fine. Now, any more questions on this one? Okay, fine. Now we will go for one design example. I send you in WhatsApp, no, download it and keep it in your Vivado software or Xilinx software. I'm also going to use Xilinx only because my computer, my laptop mein thoda problem hai. So I'm using some other, my desktop system. So all of you download and then bring it to your Vivado